Despite shoplifting numbers declining in Aurora over the years, some city leaders believe more needs to be done to crack down on petty crime.
And they're now proposing mandatory jail time for those found guilty of petty theft. Number 7's Patrick Perez is joining us live in Aurora and is breaking down this new proposal.
And Patrick, opponents say this proposed measure doesn't address the root of the problem.
Jessica, talk to any business owner along Havana Street in Aurora and they will tell you that this is a big problem. At this point, they are open to whatever ideas the city comes up with, even if not everyone is on board. Along Havana Street in Aurora, a growing concern about shoplifters.
In the last year and a half, 2 years, it's gotten a lot worse.
Scott Davenport owns Heirlooms Antique Mall. A rise in theft forced him to install more cameras and add alarms to his cases, which a vendor even triggered during our interview.
That's one of the alarms I've had to put on my cases because people have been breaking into the cases and stuff.
It's why he's in favor of a proposed ordinance that would require shoplifters who steal more than $300 in items to spend a mandatory minimum of 3 days in jail. That's as long as Aurora's jail can hold someone. And he's not alone.
There's a lot of big box retailers along the Havana bid that talk about their stores in that location being among their most profitable in the country, but also among their highest hit for retail theft.
Councilmember Dustin Zvonek was one of 5 others who voted in favor of the ordinance Monday night. He worries if the city doesn't do something, businesses will leave.
If retailers don't want to be here because they're worried about retail theft, that's a big problem for us.
But Councilmember Juan Marcano, one of 3 no votes, says a stay in jail won't solve the root of the problem.
We should ensure that we're holding folks accountable and changing behavior of folks who are committing offenses in our city. And this is not going to really do either.
Both Marcano and Mayor Mike Hoffman expressed concern about what holding someone for 3 days will cost the city. But the ordinance's sponsor, Councilmember Danielle Jurinsky, was quick to shut that down.
This ordinance is about the victims, is about the business owners in this city, and I refuse to let this ordinance get hijacked to talk about the criminals. Whatever the cost is for somebody to sit in our jail for 3 days, I guarantee you it's probably minimal.
Scott agrees this won't be a cure-all, but says this proposal is a step to reducing theft.
People make excuses why people steal and different things. This is not anything that people need, so this is just stealing for greed.
So we all know you can't sentence a shoplifter to 3 days in jail if an officer does not arrest them. Police staffing is a problem in Aurora and around the state and the country. This is something some city council members are hoping to tackle in addition to that ordinance. Council members will have a second and final vote on this ordinance in about 2 weeks. It is expected to pass. We're live in Aurora. I'm Patrick Perez, number 7.
Patrick, thank you. And of course, everyone wants to cut down on crime, but some say that 3-day mandatory minimum sentence won't have much of an impact. One of those people is attorney Jeffrey Wolf, who is a defense lawyer in shoplifting cases, and he splits shoplifters into those doing it on impulse and those doing it out of necessity.
I think it could deter the impulse people because, sometimes it's just the thrill of it that has somebody doing it. And I think if they know they could get 3 days in jail, I think it might be a little bit different for them than if they're just going to get a ticket. But for the majority of people who are actually stealing out of necessity, I don't think it's going to cross their mind.
Wolf also questions the constitutionality of this ordinance, and he sees some troubles arising, saying you can head up the street to Denver or to Brighton and not face jail time for a similar crime.